All right, let's just jump right in. We all know that feeling, right? When you get so lost in a good book that the whole world just kind of melts away. But have you ever really stopped to wonder where the magic of a story actually happens? I mean, is it all just there on the page, in the author's mind? Or is it somewhere else entirely? Today, we're going to explore a fascinating idea, that you, the reader, are the secret ingredient.
So let me just ask you this, straight up. When you're reading and you feel that rush of joy, or that sting of sadness, or that fire of anger, where does that actually come from? Is the meaning some kind of hidden treasure you're supposed to find? Or is it something that gets built, piece by piece, inside your own head?
Well, this brings us to a really powerful idea called reader response theory. And what it says is that meaning isn't some fixed thing locked inside a book. Nope, it's a living, breathing experience that's co-created in the space between the words on the page and you. It basically puts you in the driver's seat. So how on earth does that actually work?
To really see this in action, we're going to look at a classic novel by Charles Dickens called Hard Times. It's the perfect case study because right from chapter 1, this book is designed to make you an active player, not just a spectator.
The book kicks off with this booming command from a guy named Thomas Gradgrind. He's not messing around. He's laying down the law for his whole world. Facts, and only facts. No room for imagination, no room for emotion. They're basically worthless. And the story immediately puts that whole philosophy on trial.
So here's the scene. A teacher asks for the definition of a horse. A girl named Sissy, who actually grew up with horses, gives this wonderful, emotional, experience-based description. And she's told she's wrong. Then another kid, Bitzer, spits out this cold, scientific, textbook definition, and he gets praised. Now, who are you already rooting for? The book doesn't have to say a word.
And that right there is the whole point. Dickens structured this scene just to get a reaction out of you. That gut feeling you have, that sense of, wait a minute, that's not right. That feeling is the meaning. You've already been made the judge, and we're barely a few pages in.
Okay, so the book has already made us a little suspicious of its whole facts-only world. Now let's see how it dials that up, and look at how a story can be specifically engineered to make us feel deep, powerful sympathy for a character.
I want you to meet Stephen Blackpool. The story just systematically stacks the deck against this poor guy. He is the most decent, honest man you can imagine, but he is trapped from every single angle. He's in a horrible marriage, his boss takes advantage of him, and even his own co-workers kick him out. The man literally cannot catch a break.
And here's where it gets really clever. Check out the language. Throughout the entire novel, the factory workers are almost never called people, or men, or workers. They're just called hands. It's such a small detail, but man, does it have a huge impact.
The more you see this word, and believe me, it's repeated over and over and over, the more it starts to feel wrong. It's mechanical, it's cold, it's dehumanizing, and that growing sense of discomfort you get when you read it, that is 100% intentional. You're being made to feel the oppression through the language itself.
So here's the key takeaway. Your sympathy for Stephen, your outrage at how he's treated, that isn't just a side effect of reading the story. In a very real way, that feeling of injustice is the meaning of his character. He basically exists to spark that ethical response inside of you. So we've seen how a text can nudge our judgment and pull at our heartstrings. But what happens when a story just goes quiet? When it leaves something out on purpose? Well, that's when your job as a reader gets even more interesting.
Okay, this is Gradgrind's daughter, Louisa. She's been raised from birth on nothing but facts, so she has this incredibly rich inner world of feelings, but zero words to describe them. The book often shows her just staring into a fire, telling us she's feeling something profound, but it never, ever tells us what that something is.
And this right here is what critics call a gap in the text. The story is literally turning to you and asking, okay, you tell me, what is going on inside her head? Is it regret for her childhood? Is it a deep desire for something more? Is she feeling a kind of sadness for a life she doesn't even know how to want?
The story doesn't give you the answer. It leaves a blank space that only you can fill. And your interpretation, whatever it is what completes her character. The author creates the silence, and you fill it with meaning. In that moment, you stop being just a reader. You become a true co-author of the story's emotional heart.
This leads to another really cool idea. Meaning is not a fixed point. Our understanding of characters and events is supposed to change, to evolve as we make our way through the book. It's a journey, not a destination.
Let's go back to our main man, Thomas Gradgrind.
When we first meet him, he's almost a cartoon villain, right? But then, as we see the real damage his philosophy does, he becomes this genuinely oppressive force. But then, when his own kids' lives completely fall apart because of his teachings, we start to see him as this broken, confused man. And by the end, he's a humble father, just trying to pick up the pieces.
Your opinion of him has been on a wild ride. The words on page 1 didn't change, but your perception of him totally transformed. And that just proves that the meaning of a character isn't some single static thing. It's the path you travel with them from the first page all the way to the last.
But what about the ending? We usually expect a story to wrap up nicely, where the good guys win and we all feel good. But Hard Times has one last, pretty radical lesson for us about where meaning really comes from. The ending is, to be honest, a huge letdown. And that's on purpose. Our hero, Stephen, he's dead. Our heroine, Louisa, she's safe, but she's going to live an emotionally empty life. And that soul-crushing, fact-based system that caused all this pain, yeah, it's pretty much still running the show. The book completely refuses to give you a happy ending. It doesn't want to comfort you. And here's the amazing part. Your feeling of frustration, your sense that this isn't fair, that is the final, and maybe the most important, meaning the book creates. The point isn't to fix the problem in the story, it's to make you feel the weight of it in the real world. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. We always think that we are the ones reading a story, but maybe it's a little more complicated. By shaping our judgments, engineering our feelings, and asking us to fill in its empty spaces, maybe, just maybe, the story is also reading us, using our own minds and hearts to bring its world and its meaning to life.